The space station Nexus 7 hung like a tarnished jewel against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling storms. Inside its dimly lit corridors, 5 figures moved independently, each unaware of the other's presence. They had been carefully selected, deployed from across the galaxy with a single purpose: eliminate Dr. Alan Mercer, the human scientist whose breakthrough in quantum entanglement threatened the balance of power in 3-star systems. Commander Vex of the Trillium Hegemony stalked through the lower market district, his scaled skin concealed beneath a long coat. His species' natural camouflage abilities made him the perfect assassin, able to blend into shadows until the moment of strike. The hegemony couldn't allow humans to develop instantaneous communication technology that would render their strategic advantages obsolete. In the upper rings, Lyra adjusted her human disguise. The Aldebaran Intelligence Directorate had invested heavily in her biomimetic capabilities. She appeared completely human, an attractive woman with auburn hair and piercing eyes. But beneath the facade lay a being engineered specifically for infiltration and elimination. Her target, the same troublesome human scientist. Blake Monroe, a human mercenary formerly of Earth's Special Operations Command, checked his modified pulse pistol in his quarters. Unlike the aliens deployed to this station, he held no allegiance to any government. Credits were his only motivation, and the consortium of human corporations who feared Mercer's research would disrupt their monopoly on interstellar shipping had offered him plenty. The fourth killer, Dorn, represented the enigmatic Voidwalkers, a species so advanced they viewed most organics as little more than clever animals. His crystalline body absorbed ambient light, making him nearly invisible in Nexus 7's perpetual twilight. The Voidwalkers feared that humans, with their relentless innovation, might eventually challenge even their supremacy. The fifth assassin was Rex, a genetically enhanced canine with human-level intelligence, cybernetic augmentations, and an unwavering loyalty to his handlers in the Terran Coalition's Black Operations Division. His mission differed slightly: protect Mercer long enough to extract the research data, then eliminate the scientist to prevent others from obtaining it. Dr. Mercer himself remained blissfully unaware of the approaching danger. He walked through the station's commercial sector, mentally reviewing his presentation for tomorrow's Interspecies Science Symposium. His breakthrough would change everything, allowing instantaneous communication across vast distances without the need for traditional relay stations. The implications for medicine, commerce, and exploration were enormous. As evening cycle descended on the station, Mercer took a shortcut through a maintenance corridor. A fatal mistake. 2 station thugs, simple opportunists with no connection to the interstellar machinations surrounding the scientist, spotted what they assumed was an easy mark. "Hand over your credits and that fancy wrist comp," the larger one growled, brandishing a crude shock baton. Mercer backed away. "I don't want trouble." The second thug circled behind him. Too late for that, Brainiac. None of them noticed the 3 shadows converging from different directions. Vex, Lyra, and Rex had all been tracking Mercer, and now witnessed their target about to be eliminated by mere criminals. What happened next occurred in a blur of motion. Rex lunged at the first mugger, his enhanced muscles propelling him with impossible speed. Simultaneously, Vex materialized from the shadows, his poisoned blade finding the second thug's neck with surgical precision. Lyra, maintaining her cover as a human, rushed forward as if to help Mercer. The 3 killers froze, suddenly aware of each other. Their carefully planned solo missions had just been compromised, and in saving their target from common criminals, they had inadvertently revealed themselves to Mercer and to each other. "Well, this is awkward," Lyra said, maintaining her human persona while rapidly reassessing the situation. Her Aldebaran controllers had never mentioned competing assassins. Vex's skin rippled with patterns of threat and agitation. His species, involuntary emotional display betraying his surprise despite his training. "The human lives for now," he hissed. "We have complications." Rex positioned himself between Mercer and the others, his cybernetically enhanced eyes scanning both potential threats. "Dr. Mercer, stay behind me," he growled, his vocabulary implant allowing perfect speech despite canine vocal cords. Mercer, still processing the violent scene before him, looked between his 3 unlikely saviors. You're not station security," he managed, his scientific mind already piecing together the implications. "You're here for me, aren't you?" All of you. Smart human, Vex acknowledged, his blade disappearing into a forearm sheath, though apparently not smart enough to avoid dangerous shortcuts. The station's environmental systems whirred softly in the background as the four figures regarded each other in tense silence. The situation had evolved beyond any of their mission parameters. Somewhere else on the station, Blake and Dorn continued their own approaches, unaware of the confrontation taking place. We should move, Rex suggested, ears twitching toward the far end of the corridor. Station security will respond to the disturbance. My quarters are secure, Mercer offered, then immediately questioned his own judgment in inviting 3 potential assassins to his private space. Unwise, Vex countered. Your quarters will be watched. Lyra activated her neural implant, accessing Nexus 7's public network. There's an abandoned hydroponics lab 3 levels down. No active surveillance. The decision made itself when distant footsteps echoed from the corridor junction. The 4 unlikely companions moved as one, leaving behind the bodies of the would-be muggers. Minutes later, surrounded by the skeletal remains of hydroponic growing racks and the musty smell of abandoned fertilizer systems, they established an uneasy truce. I know why you're here, Mercer said, breaking the silence. My research frightens your employers. Yet you pursued it anyway, Lyra observed, still maintaining her human guise, though there was little point now. Knowledge doesn't kill people, Mercer replied. People, and others, kill people. Vex circled the room restlessly. The human is correct. The technology itself is neutral. It is the application that concerns our respective governments. Rex sat on his haunches, his posture deceptively casual, though his systems remained at full combat readiness. My handlers want your research. Before elimination, the others likely have orders to simply kill you. Charming, Mercer muttered. There are 2 more, Vex said suddenly. All eyes turned to him. I detected unusual movement patterns before making contact. 2 other operatives, likely with similar objectives. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Are you certain? My species evolved as hunters, Vex replied simply. We notice things. Mercer sank onto an overturned storage crate. 5 assassins. I'm almost flattered. You should be, Rex said. I've only seen such resources deployed against planetary governors and fleet admirals. A tense silence fell over the group as each calculated their next move. The mission parameters had changed drastically, but the fundamental objective remained. For Mercer, survival now depended on somehow turning these killers against each other, or convincing them his research wasn't the threat their employers believed. What if I told you my technology could benefit your people as much as humans? Mercer ventured. We would call you a liar, Vex replied, but there was a note of curiosity in his voice. Or desperate, Lyra added. Let him speak, Rex urged. Information harms no one. Mercer took a deep breath and began explaining the true implications of his research, details he had kept from even his closest colleagues. As he spoke, the 3 assassins exchanged glances, realizing that perhaps their mission briefings had been incomplete or deliberately misleading. Instantaneous communication is just the beginning, Mercer explained, his hands animating his words. The quantum entanglement process I've developed doesn't just link particles. It creates a bridge across space-time. Lyra's eyes narrowed skeptically. Our scientists determined such bridges would be too unstable for practical use. Your scientists were working from incomplete data, Mercer countered. The key is in the harmonic resonance patterns established during initial entanglement. Vex, who had been pacing restlessly, stopped. The Trillium hegemony believes your technology would render our defense networks obsolete. In its current form, yes, Mercer admitted. But that's precisely why I've been selective about what I've published. What I'm presenting tomorrow isn't the full picture. Rex's ears perked forward. Elaborate. Before Mercer could continue, the abandoned hydroponics lab's door hissed open. Blake Monroe stood framed in the doorway, his pulse pistol raised. Well, isn't this cozy? The mercenary drawled. In the split second that followed, 3 things happened simultaneously. Rex launched himself toward Blake. Vex's skin shifted to perfect camouflage, and Lyra pushed Mercer behind a large hydroponic tank. Blake fired twice. The first shot missed Rex by millimeters as the enhanced canine twisted in midair. The second caught the edge of a nutrient vat, sending caustic chemicals splashing across the floor. Rex landed on Blake's chest, the impact sending them both sprawling into the corridor. The pulse pistol skittered across the floor, coming to rest against the far wall. "Dorn is close," Vex warned, materializing beside Lyra. "I can sense the electromagnetic disturbance his kind emit." Outside, Rex and Blake grappled brutally. Despite the canine's enhanced strength, Blake's combat experience made him a formidable opponent. The mercenary managed to extract a vibroblade from his boot and slashed at Rex's flank, drawing a howl of pain as it penetrated his reinforced hide. "The human has combat implants," Rex growled, retreating momentarily. "Military grade." Inside the lab, Mercer was rapidly typing commands into his wrist computer. "If I can access the station's sensors, I might be able to locate the fifth assassin." "No time," Lyra said. "We need to move. This position is compromised." A crystalline form shimmered into visibility at the corridor's far end. Dorn had arrived. The Voidwalker assassin assessed the situation with inhuman calm, then raised an appendage. Energy gathered around it, coalescing into a weapon unlike anything manufactured by organic species. "Down!" Vex shouted, tackling Mercer as energy lanced through the space where the scientist had stood moments before. The shot continued through the hydroponics lab's back wall, leaving a perfectly circular hole edged with molten metal. Blake used the distraction to kick Rex away and scramble toward his pulse pistol. The mercenary's fingers had just closed around the weapon when Vex appeared beside him, scaled foot stomping down on Blake's wrist. "The Voidwalker is the primary threat," Vex hissed. "Temporary alliance?" Blake glanced at Dorn, who was preparing another energy discharge. "Agreed." Rex limped toward them, cybernetic systems already repairing his wound. "The scientist has information that changes everything. Kill the crystal. Protect Mercer." The impromptu alliance formed in an instant of mutual self-interest. Blake rolled to his feet, pulse pistol reclaimed, and now aimed at Dorn. Rex flanked left while Vex circled right, his camouflage rendering him nearly invisible again. Inside the lab, Lyra had stripped away her human disguise, revealing her true Aldebaran form, still humanoid but with iridescent skin and eyes that perceived wavelengths beyond human vision. "Doctor, I need you to trust me," she said, her voice now carrying harmonic undertones. "I don't have much choice," Mercer replied, watching the battle unfold in the corridor. "Your research, if what you say is true, could free my people from generations of subjugation. The Directorate doesn't want it for defense. They want to suppress it." Mercer studied her alien features, searching for deception. "Why tell me this now?" "Because," Lyra replied, "I believe you might be worth more to the galaxy alive than dead." The corridor erupted in chaos as the three unlikely allies engaged Dorn. Blake's pulse pistol fired rapidly, each shot absorbed by the Voidwalker's crystalline form with minimal effect. Rex darted in from the side, his cybernetic jaws clamping onto what approximated an arm, while Vex materialized behind their opponent, poison blade seeking vulnerable junctions in the crystalline body. Dorn's emotionless voice resonated directly in their minds. "Your resistance is illogical. The human's research threatens cosmic stability." "Funny," Blake grunted, dodging an energy discharge that melted a section of wall behind him. "My employers said it threatened profit margins." Inside the hydroponics lab, Mercer worked frantically on his wrist computer. "I need access to the station's power grid," he told Lyra. "My prototype can disrupt the Voidwalker's energy matrix." "Can you trust these others?" Lyra asked, her Aldebaran form shifting colors with concern. "The human mercenary still wants you dead." "One problem at a time," Mercer replied. "If that Voidwalker kills us all, my research dies too. None of us want that." In the corridor, Rex was thrown against a wall with enough force to dent the metal plating. His augmented body absorbed much of the impact, but warning signals flashed across his enhanced vision. Blake provided covering fire, while Vex continued his hit-and-run attacks, each doing minimal damage, but gradually wearing Dorn down. "The crystal bleeds light when struck at precise angles," Vex called out. "Target the luminous fractures." Blake adjusted his aim, focusing on the spreading network of glowing cracks across Dorn's surface. The Voidwalker seemed to recognize the danger, its movements becoming more erratic. "Primitive organics," Dorn projected. You cannot comprehend the consequences of the technology you defend. Try us, Rex growled, regaining his footing. Mercer finally broke through the station's security protocols. I've got it. Lyra, help me. Modify this connection port. Together, the human scientist and Aldebaran operative repurposed abandoned hydroponics equipment into a makeshift quantum resonator. As they worked, the battle in the corridor reached a critical point. Dorn had cornered Blake, the mercenary's weapon depleted. Vex lay motionless nearby, a lucky strike having penetrated his defenses. Only Rex remained combat effective, though. His systems reported critical damage to several subsystems. Fall back to the lab, Mercer shouted. Rex provided covering fire with his integrated weapons as Blake dragged the unconscious Vex into the hydroponics lab. Dorn followed, its crystalline body now a network of luminous fractures, but still devastatingly powerful. Whatever you're planning, human, do it now, Blake urged, ejecting his weapon's spent power cell. Mercer activated the makeshift device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Dorn froze in place, the light within its crystalline form fluctuating. Wildly, what have you done? The Voidwalker demanded, its mental voice distorted. Created a localized quantum disruption field, Mercer explained. Your species exists partially in higher dimensions. This field is forcing you fully into our three-dimensional reality. Dorn's form began to lose cohesion, edges blurring as the conflicting dimensional forces took their toll. This changes nothing, it projected weakly. Others will come. Maybe, Blake said, but they'll find us better prepared. With a silent flash that temporarily blinded everyone in the room, Dorn's physical form collapsed, leaving behind only crystalline dust that quickly sublimated into the air. In the aftermath, Vex regained consciousness, his reptilian features registering surprise at still being alive. The Voidwalker? Destabilized, Mercer answered. Not dead. Their consciousness exists beyond their physical forms, but banished from this dimension for now. The 5 survivors regarded each other warily. The immediate threat had been eliminated, but the original missions remained technically unfulfilled. Blake's hand rested near his spare sidearm. Rex's cybernetics had shifted to defensive configurations. Vex and Lyra positioned themselves protectively near Mercer. So, Blake broke the silence. What now? Return to our employers with failure. Reports? Kill each other? Kill Mercer? Or, Mercer suggested quietly, we consider why our employers wanted me dead in the first place. My employers, Blake said, checking the charge on his backup weapon, were quite specific. A consortium of shipping companies concerned that instantaneous communication would destroy their business model. The Trillium hegemony fears human expansion, Vex admitted. Your technology would allow your kind to coordinate across vast distances instantaneously, removing our strategic advantage. Lyra's skin rippled with patterns of deep thought. The Aldebaran Directorate told me your research would destabilize the quantum fabric between star systems. Rex paced the room, his cybernetic leg partially repaired by internal systems. My handlers claimed other species would weaponize the technology immediately. Mercer listened to each explanation with growing concern. Notice anything strange about these reasons? They're all different, yet all led to the same conclusion. I needed to die. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Blake was the first to voice the collective suspicion. We've been manipulated. But by whom? Vex questioned. And, to what end? Mercer's fingers flew across his wrist computer, bringing up his research notes. I've been careful with my public disclosures, but someone must have discovered the full implications of my work. Which are? Lyra prompted. Quantum entanglement communication is just the beginning, Mercer explained. The same principles could, theoretically, create stable wormholes for instantaneous travel between star systems. Rex's ears perked up. Eliminating the need for traditional hyperspace travel. Exactly, Mercer confirmed. And rendering current defense systems, trade routes, and power structures obsolete overnight. Blake whistled low. That would certainly motivate multiple parties to want you silenced. But there's more, Mercer continued. My latest simulations suggest something unexpected. The quantum bridges could potentially access parallel timelines. The revelation landed like a physical weight in the room. Even Vex, normally composed, displayed alarm patterns across his scales. That's impossible, Lyra breathed. her Aldebaran scientific training conflicting with what she was hearing. 6 months ago, I would have agreed, Mercer said. But the math is solid. Whoever wanted me dead might have discovered this aspect of my research and feared the consequences. Or wanted to control it exclusively, Blake suggested darkly. A maintenance alarm suddenly blared throughout the station. Rex accessed the public information network through his implants. Station security has discovered the bodies. They're locking down all sectors. We need to move, Vex stated flatly. Preferably off this station entirely. Mercer shook his head. My presentation is tomorrow. If I don't appear, it will raise too many questions. If you do appear, you'll be walking into a death trap, Blake countered. Whoever orchestrated this will have contingencies. Then we spring the trap, Lyra suggested, her form shifting subtly as she considered tactics. But on our terms, Rex tilted his head, considering. You're proposing we continue to protect him? Against our original missions? Our missions were based on incomplete or false information, Lyra argued. And after facing a Voidwalker together, I'm disinclined to trust my handler's assessment of the situation. Vex nodded slowly. There is wisdom in reassessment. The hegemony is not above deception if it serves their purposes. Blake holstered his weapon with a dramatic sigh. Well, I'm already getting paid half up front, and technically no one specified I had to confirm the kill personally. Could just report mission accomplished and move on. All eyes turned to Rex, whose loyalty conditioning was programmed deepest. The enhanced canine was silent for a long moment, internal systems conflicting with newfound doubts. My primary directive is to secure the research before termination, he finally said. The order of operations was not specified. I could delay the second part indefinitely. Mercer looked around at the 4 killers who had, through bizarre circumstance, become his protectors. So we're agreed? We proceed with the presentation, expose whoever's behind this, and then decide what happens to my research. One by one, they nodded. A human mercenary, a reptilian assassin, an Aldebaran operative, and a cybernetically enhanced canine, united, by nothing more than circumstance and growing suspicion. Then we need a plan, Mercer said, because whoever deployed 5 killers isn't going to give up easily. Dawn's cycle illuminated Nexus 7's habitat ring with artificial sunlight as the station awakened to its regular rhythms. The Interspecies Science Symposium was the highlight of the cycle, with delegates from 12 star systems gathering in the central auditorium. Mercer adjusted his collar nervously as he prepared backstage. The plan they had formulated overnight was risky, but it was their best chance at drawing out whoever had orchestrated the assassination attempts. Communications check, Rex's voice came through the subdermal transmitter they had implanted in Mercer's ear canal. Receiving, Mercer subvocalized, the sensitive microphone picking up the vibrations from his larynx. Auditorium secured, Blake reported from his position as an ad hoc security officer, his mercenary credentials having been sufficient to bluff his way onto the symposium staff. 218 attendees, 14 species represented. No obvious threats. Perimeter monitoring in place, Vex added. He had deployed microscopic hunter-seeker drones, standard Trillium assassination tools, but reprogrammed to detect weapons and unusual physiological signatures. Lyra, having resumed her human disguise, circulated among the pre-symposium reception. Multiple diplomatic and corporate representatives present, 3 flagged as potential connections to our employers. Mercer took a deep breath. Proceeding as planned then. The symposium director, a jovial Cantusian with flowing tendrils framing his face, approached Mercer backstage. Dr. Mercer, the audience is most eager for your presentation. I understand your work could revolutionize interstellar communication. That's the hope, Mercer replied with a forced smile, though I've had to make some last-minute adjustments to my presentation. Nothing serious, I trust? Just refining some of the technical details, Mercer lied smoothly. Don't want to confuse the non-specialists in the audience. 10 minutes. Later, Mercer stood at the podium, facing the assembled delegates. Subtle security scans washed over him. Standard procedure for high-profile events, but taking on new significance given recent events. Distinguished delegates, Mercer began. What I present today represents 5 years of research into quantum entanglement communications. But before I detail the technical specifications, I want to address the broader implications. This deviation from the registered presentation outline caught the attention of several audience members. 3 rows back, a Galidian trade representative shifted uncomfortably. Near the rear exit, a human in Terran Coalition uniform straightened in her seat. My research has been mischaracterized to various interested parties, Mercer continued. Some have been told it threatens dimensional stability. Others believe it would destabilize economic systems. Still others fear military applications. Murmurs rippled through the audience. This was not the technical presentation they had expected. All of these concerns stem from incomplete information that was deliberately distorted before reaching decision-makers. Rex, positioned as a service animal near the stage, detected elevated stress responses from multiple audience members. Movement at the southeast exit, he subvocalized. Tracking, Vex confirmed. Human female, diplomatic credentials attempting to leave discreetly. Blake moved to intercept, but Lyra's voice cut in. Wait. The Galidian is activating something. Possible communication device. On stage, Mercer displayed a series of equations that made little sense to most observers, but would be immediately recognizable to anyone familiar with the theoretical underpinnings of his work. What you're seeing isn't a communications protocol, he announced. It's the mathematical foundation for stable interdimensional transit. The audience erupted in shocked conversations. In the resulting confusion, 3 separate individuals made for the exits with suspicious urgency. That's them, Rex confirmed, his enhanced senses detecting the subtle physiological signatures of stress and fear. The human female, the Galidian, and, unexpected, the Cantusian symposium director. 3 conspirators from different species, Vex noted. This plot extends further than anticipated. Blake intercepted the human female while Lyra moved to block the Galidian's escape. The Cantusian director, realizing he was about to be exposed, made a desperate decision. Rising from his seat, he produced a weapon that had somehow bypassed security. Mercer! Rex barked in warning, launching himself toward the stage. Time seemed to slow as the Cantusian fired. The projectile, a specialized neurotoxin dart, sped toward Mercer's chest. It never reached its target. Rex intercepted it mid-flight, his cybernetically enhanced body moving faster than organic reflexes could track. The dart penetrated his shoulder instead, its deadly payload entering his bloodstream. Chaos erupted in the auditorium as delegates scrambled for cover. Station security, finally alerted to the danger, rushed in with weapons drawn. Vex materialized behind the Cantusian, his poison blade pressed against the alien's throat. Who deployed you? The reptilian assassin hissed. Who else knows about Mercer's true research? Rex collapsed on the stage, his systems frantically working to neutralize the neurotoxin. Mercer knelt beside the enhanced canine, medical training from his university days guiding his actions as he stabilized the loyal protector who had taken a dart meant for him. Across the auditorium, Blake subdued the human female, revealed to be a deep-cover operative for a secretive human faction calling themselves the Temporal Preservation Society. Lyra cornered the Galidian, who surrendered immediately, more scientist than conspirator. Station security is locking down the symposium, Vex reported, maintaining his hold on the Cantusian director. We have minutes before we lose control of this situation. The Cantusian's tendrils writhed in distress. You don't understand what you're meddling with, he gasped. The human's research. It violates cosmic law. Whose law? Mercer demanded, looking up from Rex's prone form. Who are you really working for? The director's eyes darted around desperately. The architects, he finally whispered. They maintain the boundaries between dimensions. They cannot allow bridges between timelines. A chill ran through the assembled conspirators. The architects were considered mythological by most spacefaring species, supposedly ancient beings who had ascended beyond physical form eons ago. You expect us to believe you work for mythical cosmic entities? Blake scoffed, though his expression betrayed uncertainty. Not directly, the Galidian interjected, voice trembling. We're caretakers, ensuring certain technologies don't develop prematurely. Lyra's Aldebaran senses detected no deception. They believe what they're saying. Rex stirred weakly, his enhanced body fighting off the toxin. Temporal security, he managed. My handlers suspected something like this. Station security forces surrounded the auditorium, their commander demanding immediate surrender. Time was running out. Mercer made a split-second decision. My research data. I can prove whether they're telling the truth. He manipulated his wrist computer, bringing up encrypted files. The quantum resonance patterns I discovered. They contain embedded information I couldn't decipher. The scientist quickly authorized access for his 4 protectors, sharing the mysterious data patterns he had discovered embedded in the quantum field. Patterns too precise to be natural, too complex to be coincidental. It's a warning, Lyra realized first, her Aldebaran perception recognizing the mathematical signatures. Written into the quantum fabric itself. The Cantusian director nodded grimly. The barriers between timelines exist for a reason. The architects learned this through catastrophic experience. Station security breached the outer doors. Moments remained before they would all be arrested, or worse. What do we do with the research? Blake asked, looking to Mercer. The scientist hesitated only briefly. We protect it, but we don't release it. Not until we understand the full implications. He turned to Rex. Can your handlers provide sanctuary? The enhanced canine nodded weakly. Extraction protocols? Ready. Then we go together. Vex decided, surprising everyone. My mission has changed. The hegemony must know about these architects. Count me in, Blake added with a shrug. This pays better than assassination anyway. Lyra completed their unlikely alliance. The Aldebaran people have suffered enough manipulation. They deserve the truth. As station security closed in, Rex activated his emergency extraction beacon. 5 beings who had begun as enemies, then reluctant allies, now unified in purpose, clustered together. In a flash of quantum displacement, technology the Terran Coalition had kept secret, they vanished, leaving behind confused security forces and 3 captured conspirators. They rematerialized aboard a cloaked vessel at Nexus 7's outer marker. The ship's AI acknowledged Rex's command codes and immediately plotted a course away from Jupiter's orbit. On the bridge, Mercer looked around at his 4 protectors. Blake checking the ship's weapon systems, Vex studying the quantum data with intense focus, Lyra communicating with her Aldebaran contacts, and Rex recovering in a medical pod. They deployed 5 killers, Mercer mused aloud. But a mistaken mugging turned 3 into allies. 4, Blake corrected without looking up. I'm officially reclassifying this as a protection detail. Vex's scales rippled with what might have been amusement. The universe is rarely as simple as our employers would have us believe. As the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, the unlikely allies prepared for a new mission, uncovering the truth about the cosmic laws they had unwittingly challenged, and determining whether humanity's relentless innovation would ultimately be its salvation or its downfall. In the vast expanse of space, other forces watched their departure. The game had changed, but it was far from over. The 5 killers had become something no one could have anticipated, a team uniquely positioned to navigate the dangerous waters between cosmic powers. Their journey was just beginning.